want one of those filters things. Sounds like I have more hair. But then I couldn't move. Yeah, okay, she's going to. We'll call this meeting to order.
Yes, this county commission meeting of Sumner County is now open pursuant to adjournment. God bless this country and this honorable commission. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Sheriff Weatherford. Is Pastor Bill Davis here tonight? Okay, thank you. Pastor Bill Davis joins us tonight. He's the pastor of Long Hollow Baptist Gallatin campus. He has a Bachelor of Science degree from Tennessee Tech in Human Resources. He was a Human Resources Manager in manufacturing over 20 years while active as a deacon, lay leader at Long Hollow Baptist Church. He left his HR career when he was asked to become Long Hollow's Gallatin campus pastor in 2006. He enjoys sports, reading, traveling, and community involvement, such as being a referee at Civic Center and umpire at Gallatin softball leagues, which has probably tested his faith more than once. He and his wife Estelle have been married for 36 years and have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Thank you, Pastor Davis, and welcome to. We ask that you pray for us tonight.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight as a grateful people. We're so thankful that you created us, that you love us, that you care about us, and that you're in control and that your promises are never broken. We thank you for what brings us here tonight. We thank you for our country. We're so thankful for our government, for the principles of democracy, where a large group of people elect a smaller group of people to represent them. We thank you for the men and women in this room that will do just that tonight. We thank you for the fact that they have sacrificed their time, their talent, their skill set, their influence for the greater good. That selflessness and unselfishness are characteristics that permeate this group. We pray for the agenda. We pray that everything that is discussed, debated, decided would bring glory and honor to you tonight. Again, we are so thankful that you love us the way you do. We don't deserve it. We pray that everything that happens in this room makes the city of Gallatin and the county of Sumner just a little bit better than it was before this meeting began. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
But before we sit down, let's pause just one moment and do one other thing. If you've been watching the news, everything the past week, we know the terrible crisis that's going on in Houston. Let's bow our heads and we'll pray for our brothers and sisters in Texas. Lord, as a body, we gather together tonight and we lift up our brothers and sisters in Texas, oh Lord, and all those that are affected by the hurricane, by the tropical storm now, and by the massive amounts of rainfall. Lord, we think of the first responders who are out there risking their lives to save others, and we pray, oh Lord, that your Spirit will move over them and that you will move over us as a nation, oh Lord, to give, to be generous, to be charitable, and to help us to glorify you through our actions and deeds. Lord, again, we lift up the people of Texas to you. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen. You may be seated. Before we check roll, let me share 2 things. Mr. Vaughn, our meeting was regularly scheduled for last Monday night, but last week was the eclipse. What an amazing, amazing event that was. Really just more than you could ever imagine, but a special day. But Commissioner Vaughn has to miss tonight because he had months ago been scheduled for some training for Hendersonville Police Department, so he's unable to be with us. And Commissioner Driver will be here soon. His son is receiving his black belt in karate right now, so Commissioner Driver will be here in just a few minutes. Let's check our roll.
Roll call is now open. Each commissioner, please record your presence by pushing the green button. We have 19 members present.
Mr. Akins isn't working.
Okay, who else?
Mr. Akins and Ms. Shell.
Your small green button, yes, sir. All right, all right, from the time we start the vote, you have 15 seconds to push it. If there's a green dot on top of your button, we're gonna start that over again. I'm sorry I did not put the training tools back out there, but we're gonna start again.
For the viewing public, this is the second time we're using this system. We're still working a few kinks out.
There's a green dot on top of the button that you need to push. All right, so we're gonna start the roll call, and you have to do it within 15 seconds from the time that we start. That's the way we always done it. Here we go. Roll call. Each commissioner, please record your presence by pushing your green button.
There we go. Some of those Hendersonville folks are holding that.
Now we have 22 members present. Good job. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Camp. You have before you your regular agenda and consent agenda. I'll wait on a motion to approve. Motion made by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Kruger.
I'd like to make an amendment if possible.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I would like to suggest that we move the certificates of recognition above the recognition of the public. We seem to have a lot of people in the House who want to speak, and I know we have some school-age students out there that might want to, it could be a long night.
It's actually above it on, right, but we don't have anyone, we have no one signed up for the regular agenda, public comments. The other comments are connected to one of the zoning issues. So if you're okay, Mr. Pomeroy, we'll just roll with the agenda as it is. Okay, motion's been made and properly seconded to approve the agenda and consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, your minutes are in your packet. I'll wait for a motion to approve our minutes. Approved by Commissioner Pomeroy, seconded by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. If we could have the public comments papers. Okay. All right. Does anyone else wish to speak on an item on the regular agenda, not one of the zoning issues? Thank you, Sheriff Weatherford. Okay. All right. In terms of announcements from the chair, without objection, Mr. Widener, I think it's particularly timely given what's going on in Texas at the moment. Mr. Widener is going to come forward and give us a report as requested by Emergency Services on the May floods here in Sumner County. So without objection, we will yield the floor to Mr. Widener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. May 19th, 2017, I'm sure you're all aware of flooding that occurred primarily in the northern part of the county, northeastern, down through the central part of the county. And the unique thing about this incident was we didn't see a lot of rain down in the Hendersonville area, a little bit of rain in Castagan, a little bit of rain on the northwest side of Portland. But on that particular day, we had a lot of things happen that were potentially dangerous. And as the morning began, rainfall started before daylight. Hold up on that if you don't mind. Rainfall started before daylight. And EMS, EMA, and Sheriff's Special Operations personnel were communicating. We were talking to each other about the rainfall that was predicted to come in, and saying, if you don't mind, go up and stop that. The rain that was predicted to come in, we knew we were going to have a lot of rain. We were talking to the Weather Service, and we were trying to get a grasp on what we thought we would have. We really didn't know. So reports of minor flooding started coming in. We were listening to all of the public safety agencies in the county. At about 5:50, EMS and EMA personnel got in service. All police officers that were out, we started talking to them and getting an idea of what was going on. At 6:05, the National Weather Service issues a flash flood warning, but they talked to us prior to that about the conditions we had, which prompted that flash flood warning. At 6:25, People Transportation reports a school bus on Buck Perry Road with 17 kids aboard, and other reports of people that were trapped in the water in the Westmoreland area, over in the Old Gallatin Road area, and several other areas in that general span where the rain was falling. The sheriff's office was receiving multiple calls of people being in trouble. Westmoreland was responding to calls. So we launched our special ops team. They were assembling at the Emergency Operations Center. Hendersonville PD, or Hendersonville Fire Swiftwater was called. Metro Nashville was called and put on standby. And Sam, go ahead and start that. We went and started doing these rescues. So you're going to see a video of pictures of some of the things we did. Obviously, we didn't get everything we did, but we were just in a situation where we could get these pictures and let you see some of the things that occurred on the 19th. That's A.B. Wade at Dobbins Pike, and the county highway had to rework that road. That's Buck Perry right there. While you're watching this, I want to speak a little bit to the actions of the bus driver. The bus driver actually took a lot of heat for driving into the water. And people that are familiar with that area, Buck Perry Road, you go from a pretty good elevation into a bottom. And that bottom is paralleled by a creek, which tees into a creek at Rock Bridge Road. And when she drove into the bottom, she hit it at just the right time for that flash flood to be was actually beginning. And when she got to a point where the road was lower and she encountered water, she turned around. But when she turned around and came back, she encountered water coming back up out of the hollow, and the water got her. So I actually took a hydrologist with the Weather Service up there, and he looked at it, he looked at elevations, and he looked at everything, and he said it was a perfect storm, the perfect scenario for somebody to get trapped in there. It just happened to be that it was a school bus with 17 kids on it. And her demeanor on the bus was amazing. She kept her kids calm. She was the next to the last person off of the bus. And we've actually gone and talked to her, gave her a hug, and patted her on the back for the job she did, because she quite honestly took some heat that really wasn't deserved. So that day, we actually put our hands on 27 people, actually got them out of harm's way. There were several people that were rescued by family and friends and police officers. The sheriff had people all over the place helping people and pulling people out. Swiftwater Rescue is a highly technical rescue, so we really encourage citizens, police officers, firefighters that don't have training, don't have the gear, we encourage them to not get in the water. So as we worked through this, and Hendersonville Fire worked through this, we were able to do a great deal of good. Following the flooding, we started our damage assessment process. And our damage assessment process was done with our personnel, assistance from the state, and assistance from John Isbell's office. And we worked and worked to get a declaration. We knew we weren't going to get a federal declaration because of per capita numbers. When we talk about per capita numbers, the county has to have $1.43 per capita on the population, $3.61 on our population, which is about $600,000 worth of damage. But then the state has to have a damage amount at a little over $9 million. And we weren't going to get that. So the goal that we had was to get SBA, Small Business Administration, help in here. For that, we needed 25 homes that were had major damage or were destroyed. We had 19, and that's all we could pull out. We went social media, we went news, we went door to door, and we couldn't do that to get help for our citizens for that. But we've had a lot of volunteer groups in. We've had Red Cross. They've been amazing, and we've done everything we can to try to help those people that were affected. That's pretty much it on that. And I actually want to speak on on our Texas potential deployment. But if anybody's got any questions on the May 19th flooding, I'll be happy to answer those. Okay. The deal that's going on in Texas. We have been to Waveland, Mississippi. We've been to Kentucky. We've been to South Carolina on EMAC deployments, Emergency Management Assistance Compact deployments. And we have to be requested. We can't just self-deploy down there. So what they require from us is to get with the state and get with FEMA through EMAC and develop what they call a mission-ready package. At 2:30 today, we submitted a mission-ready package because the request went out this morning, and we've submitted a mission-ready package for 14 swiftwater technicians to go to Texas or Louisiana. So, and that's where we stand on that. We're just in sit and wait mode right now. So, thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. All right, your veteran service report is on your desk, and I'm going to yield the floor now to Mr. Guthrie. He has 2 certificates of recognition.
It's my distinct honor tonight to present this certificate of recognition. It's a resolution honoring Captain Don Badaker as he retires from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Whereas Captain Don Badaker retired in June of 2017 after serving with Sumner County Sheriff's Office for 41 years. And, oh, Captain Badaker, would you come up here, please? And your wife, please. Yeah, I knew I was missing something. Whereas Captain Badaker began his career with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office as patrol deputy in 1976, was promoted to detective 1 year later, where he was instrumental in solving several high-profile crimes, and whereas Captain Badaker has served under 6 different Sumner County sheriffs as a patrol sergeant, patrol lieutenant, patrol captain, and was later appointed as the first director of the Drug Task Force for the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. And whereas Captain Badaker has a combined law enforcement employment history of 46 years, which includes service with the Davidson County Highway Patrol, the Gallatin, Tennessee Police Department, and has volunteered to remain in a part-time procurement position with the Sheriff's Office upon his retirement. And whereas over the span of his long and committed service, Captain Badaker provided excellent leadership and is to be commended and recognized for his diligent service and dedication to Sumner County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting in regular session on its 28th day of August 2017, that this body does hereby express its appreciation and gratitude for the many years of service and dedication of Captain Don Badeker and wishes him the best in his retirement. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread on the minutes of this body, and the clerk is to furnish a copy of this resolution to Captain Don Badeker, and I move to approve.
Motion is made by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Decker. All in favor say aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Did you want to say something?
I like to say this, we do it because of you. That's the only reason we have jobs. We do it because of you. You need us, we need you. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. Guess what? That's right.
Hey, and folks, he's still not retired. He's still
No, he's still working.
And my
The trend goes on.
My favorite, I fell asleep in the back of Mr. Badeker's car coming back from Beach High School football games as a child, many a night. No. I was 9.
Sergeant Dodds, would you like to come up, please, sir? Two voids that are nearly impossible to fill, Captain Badeker and Sergeant Dodds. Okay. Tonight, we also have a resolution honoring Sergeant William David Dodds as he retires from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Whereas Sergeant William Dodds is retiring in September 2017 after serving the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for 28 years. And whereas Sergeant Dodds began his career with Sumner County as a patrol deputy in 1989 and served as a criminal and chancery court bailiff before being promoted to patrol sergeant, and has also held instructor certifications in various law enforcement topics, including terrorism, hostage negotiations, and crime prevention. Whereas Sergeant Dodds has a combined law enforcement employment history of 41 years, which includes service with the Warren County, Kentucky Police Department, the Oakland, Kentucky Police Department, the Gallatin, Tennessee Police Department, and the Nashville Capitol Police, and has volunteered to remain an auxiliary deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office upon his retirement. Whereas Sergeant Dodds has also served in both the Kentucky Army National Guard and the Tennessee Army National Guard from 1974 to 2006, where he retired as a staff sergeant and received an Army Commendation Medal for assistance he provided to the Hurricane Katrina victims in 2005. And whereas Sergeant Dodds has gone above and beyond to serve the citizens of Sumner County, and is to be commended and recognized for his extensive contributions, diligent service, unwavering patriotism, and dedication to Sumner County and the state of Tennessee. Now therefore be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting in regular session on this 28th day of August 2017 that this body does hereby express its appreciation and gratitude for the many years of service and dedication of Sergeant William David Dodds and wishes him the best in his retirement. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread on the minutes of this body, and the clerk is to furnish a copy of this resolution to Sergeant William Dodds, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Guthrie, seconded by Commissioner Foster. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Like to say something about it?
I really appreciate this, and it's been my honor to serve the people of Sumner County and the people of the state of Tennessee and in the United States when I served in the military, and I'm just humbled and honored to receive this. Thank you.
I'd like for everyone to know. First, we can't put into words our appreciation for Captain Baddeker and Sergeant Dodge, but one token of the county's affection and gratitude is in the consent agenda tonight. We will approve for each man to receive his badge and service weapon, just as a small token of our appreciation for no telling how many times they've taken their lives in their own hands and risked it to serve us, the citizens of Sumner County. So again, we're just very appreciative for both of you. Commissioner Mo Taylor.
We have a couple of resolutions honoring folks from Westmoreland and the library, and Mr. Holt's going to do the first one recognizing the library.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. It's really my privilege tonight to read a resolution honoring the Westmoreland Public Library. Whereas August 15th, 1987, a ribbon-cutting ceremony marked the official opening of the new Westmoreland Library. And come on up, Willie Ruth. We forgot that part. That's the most important part. At the VFW Lodge, and was a temporary home of the library until the current location was built in the 1990s. And whereas, with the support of the citizens, the Westmoreland Library has become a cornerstone of the community over the past 30 years and has continued to grow, adding computer lab, a meeting room, a children's room to own the existing facility to better serve the citizens. And whereas the employees, volunteers, former and current board members who have supported the Westmoreland Library should be praised for utilizing all available resources to provide the citizens of Westmoreland with the opportunities to engage in lifelong learning, interact with community members, and gain new knowledge and skills throughout the library's dynamic programs. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting on the regular session on this 28th day of August 2017, that this body does hereby celebrate the Westmoreland Public Library and commends its dedicated past and present employees, board members, and volunteers who serve to make Westmoreland Public Library the outstanding community center it is today. And be it further resolved that this resolution be spread on the minutes of this body, and the clerk is to furnish a copy of this resolution to Miss Willie Ruth Borders on behalf of the Westmoreland Public Library.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Akins. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Now, in addition to that, Commissioner Mo Taylor has another special presentation. So you get to move right over here.
This takes me back a lot of years here. I worked for the city of Westmoreland the year she started at the library, so we're going back a few years. This is a resolution honoring Willie Ruth Borders, whereas now serving her 30th year as library manager for Westmoreland Public Library. Miss Willie Ruth Borders first began serving Westmoreland citizens in 1987 when the library opened in the VFW Lodge in a facility made up of 4 shelves and 3 tables. And whereas over the span of her career, Miss Borders has expanded library services through collaboration with the Westmoreland community and school programs, including summer reading programs and educational programs for children and adults. And whereas her tenure, Miss Borders has served as the backbone of the library and helped make the community center it is today. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting in regular session on the 28th day of August 2017, that this body does hereby commend and honor Willie Ruth Borders, who has not only been an outstanding library manager, but also a mentor and friend, for her hard work, passion, and community service and dedication. And be it further resolved that this resolution as to be spread on the minutes of this body, and the clerk is to furnish a copy of this resolution to Willie Ruth Borders, and I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Akins. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Now, I'm not a speaker, but I just want to say thank you to everybody, all the commissioners, all the support that they do give all the libraries in Sumner County. Thank y'all.
Commissioner Pomeroy.
Thank you, Chairman Langford. At this time, I'd like to call up Coach Tom Moran and the Station Camp Boys Bison Soccer Team. Everybody come up here at this time. Squeeze on in here, boys. Just start spreading around. We'll be good. I love all the presentations we do, but I love giving a team sport presentation to look around and see all the hard work that these young men put into. You know, when you drive through the county, up and down roads all over the place, you see these guys out in their field just working year-round tirelessly, and it's good to be able to honor you as our hard work pays off. Whereas the Station Camp High School Bison Boys Soccer Team had a banner 2016-17 season, winning its first TSSAA team state title, beating multiple nationally ranked high school teams, and marking Station Camp High School's first ever team state championship in its 15 years of existence. And whereas the Bison Boys finished the season with a 22-0-2 record at the USA Today Sports Super 25 poll, ranked the Station Camp High School Bison Boys Soccer Team the 8th best team in the nation. And whereas the Bison Boys, under the leadership of Coach Tom Moran, demonstrated remarkable talent, strict discipline, and determination through their accomplishments, have been inspiration to other players and our county. And whereas the Station Camp soccer coach Tom Moran deserves a special recognition as he served as head coach for the Bison soccer program from its beginning in 2002. And this stellar season can be attributed to his leadership, mentorship, and reinforcement of strong team chemistry. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting in regular session on this 28th day of August 2017 that this body does hereby congratulate and commend the Station Camp High School Bison Boys Soccer Team for their achievements and wishes them further success. And be it further resolved that this resolution is to be spread on the minutes of this body, and the clerk is to furnish a copy of this resolution to Station Camp High School Soccer Team Bison Boys coaching staff, and I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Pomeroy and seconded by Commissioner Lamar. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Coach, I didn't really prepare anything to say. I really didn't prepare anything to say. I wasn't prepared to say Bison Boys Soccer that many times. I felt like I was doing a tongue twister. So, but congratulations. Thank you, Coach Moran has put in a ton of work, and he said he didn't prepare a lot to say, but we all understand the job you've done, and boys understand the work you've done. So go ahead, Coach.
I just want to say thank you for the recognition. These guys do all the hard work. We just gave them the plan, and they came together. Their motto was brotherhood, and they lived it every day, all season, and it carried them through, and it was just an honor to be able to coach them. Thank you for the support, and of course, thank the parents for letting me coach these fine young men. They're a fantastic group of guys, so thank you very much, and, you know, we hope to try to, you know, maybe try to do this thing again sometime, so thank you very much.
Did you want your shout out?
Beatty, did you want to talk?
Shout out to my boy Pooh Bear. What does that mean? It's Christian Sanchez.
Come on in, tighten up. Come on, coaches. Thank you, guys. Great job.
Commissioner Baker Ring.
The Constitution's not here. Oh, who? No, I don't think so. Is Jane Wright in the building, in the room? I didn't see her, okay. This is a resolution declaring the week of September 17th as Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2017 marks the 230th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document, its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore be it resolved by the Sumner County Board of County Commissioners meeting in regular session on this the 28th day of August 2017 that this body does hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week and urges all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and privileges which that privilege involves. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread on the minutes of this body. I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Ring, seconded by Commissioner Goode. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Okay. All right. Are we ready to read the notice? Ms. Kemp, yes, ma'am.
Can we have the record reflect that we did not receive a veteran service report? Or at least I know I didn't, and I know
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes, we can clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kemp.
There will be a public hearing before the Sumner County Commission on Monday, August 28, 2017 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held at Sumner County Commission Administration Building, County Commission Chambers. This meeting will be to discuss and possibly vote on the rezoning of the property below. Tennessee Home Sites is requesting to have the property located along Long Hollow Pike, west of New Shackle Island Road, Hendersonville, Tennessee, rezoned from R1A to residential plan unit development, medium density. Subject properties on tax map 122, parcel 066.01, contains 45.34 acres and is zoned residential 1A. A copy of this notice is on file in the Sumner County Planning and Stormwater Department in the Sumner County Commission building. Anyone having any interest or desiring to ask questions concerning this request is invited to attend the meeting.
We'll call this zoning meeting to order. We will start, let me just give a little bit of a description on protocol. The way that we will run the hearing tonight is we will begin with public comments, and then we will hear from the landowner or entity presenting or requesting the zoning change. Then we will hear from our commissioners. We'll yield first to commissioners from that district if they wish to speak, and then every other commissioner, of course, as usual, will have that's in the queue will be able to speak. Let me say this, we have 12 people signed up to speak tonight, so what I will do just to make it easier on everyone, is I will announce the person that's speaking, and then I will announce who's up next to give you time so that as they finish their comments, you'll be able to come up to the podium and prepare to speak. I will also read the address as written on the agenda. If that address is incorrect, if you will just correct that when you get to the podium, then that would be great, and that will not count against your time. Yes, each person will have 5 minutes to speak during public comments. I remind everyone, just as are the rules of the chamber, when you speak, address the chair. We ask that you your comments remain focused on the agenda item at question, which is the request for zoning change. I would ask, just in terms of everyone having everyone's full attention when they speak, is if someone else has already said something, just agree with them. You don't have to repeat the same thing over. You're free to. It's your 5 minutes. We ask that there be no disparaging comments made about another citizen, another commissioner, another person in Sumner County. And then we ask, I know, this is not to be overbearing or anything, but just to maintain good order, we ask that no one applaud or yell, just because we want every citizen, when they're speaking, to be able to be heard, and it just conforms to our rules of decorum. So with that said, I think it's Jeannie Toe, or Jean Toe, is up first. And she is from 2205 Center Point Road. And Mr. Nathan Stone will be up next. You can actually up here, Ms. Toe, I'm sorry. You just turn and face that way, yes, ma'am.
And I have property on Long Hollow in close to the Garrett property. So in October of 2007, there was a piece of property, much like what we're here today to discuss, 70 acres on New Shackle Island Road, that was requested by the owner, Ms. Hackett, to be rezoned to a low-density residential plan unit development. 10 of the commissioners that are seated now, or would be, were there. Mike Akins, Paul Decker, Paul Friels, Paul Good, Steve Graves, Anthony Holt, Merrill Hyde, Bob P., Jim Vaughn. And of course, as has happened now, there were some protesters. Miss Erin Taylor of 200 Oak Hill Court, who borders this Miss Hackett's property, have read a letter from Lori Atchley from Island Brook, which is across the street from the property, stating that she is concerned about the type of development in this community. This is Miss Atchley. Lori Atchley is the person that put the filling station in the triangle for her good neighbors to smell and look at. And she's concerned about what's going in this property between...
I would ask you not to disparage anyone.
No, this is fact, Mr. Langford. I'm just stating facts, really.
Okay, well, then I ask to stay focused on the topic tonight.
This is part of the topic. I mean, I'm leading to it. Okay. But it is fact. I'm not saying that she's a bad person. I don't, she had to sell the property somehow, so that's fine. Dr. Bill Taylor of the same address, 200 Oak Hill Court, who is, along with Mr. Langford, my representative, commissioner, also stated that he requested that the development be brought up to standards of neighboring to subdivisions, or to defer the matter, allowing the city of Hendersonville to take over the project through annexation. But then other people also spoke. Mr. Rainey spoke on behalf of the out-of-town developer. Ricky Skaggs had he was concerned about the traffic and additional homes. The neighbors that are bordering this property, it's just,
yes, Ms. Toe, I would ask that you move to the Westbrook subdivision and not to one.
Okay, so this got deferred is where I'm getting to. It got deferred. Mr. Holt deferred it, and because it needed to be reduced from 72 to 70 acres, so they deferred it. And it's never been heard from again. although the Hackett's still own it and it's still for sale. As in the Buchanan properties, this also happened. So why can't this property that we're discussing, the Garrett, not be afforded the same disappearing act that 9 of you performed on these other 2 properties and probably others that I have not researched yet? And also, Pastor Davis, I think, said it best when he said we are a large group electing a small group to do our wishes. And if you could look around the room and other places, we have 1,000 like in the Facebook group. So that's a lot of people that's not for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stone. We appreciate your comments. Again, I just ask everyone if we'll hold our applause. Mr. Nathan Stone will be next, and I think it's Harriet, is it Bible? Yes, ma'am. Harriet Bible will be up next. Mr. Stone's at 157 Hurt Road, Hendersonville. Yes. Mr. Stone, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for letting me speak tonight. This has been going on a long time for us. I know it's just now coming to the commission, but we've been dealing with this since early March. And I know a lot of people are getting tired of it. I know I am. But we've kind of stuck with it because we feel like this particular development is not in the best interest for our community. We feel like it's out of place, the way it was conceived, the way that the lots would be laid out. When it was first pitched in March, the brochures and things that the developer had drawn up referenced the Long Hollow Quarter Plan, which was in the ad hoc committee at the time. And by the time that they proposed it in March, it had already been rejected by this body, the ad hoc committee, Long Hollow Quarter Plan. And if it was designed according to the village type overlays that people have asked to be removed from the plan because we really don't want that kind of development there, then it seems to me that it's not going to be in place with the new plan that is derived. Now, this is what's called a medium density PUD, and it has lot sizes as small as 5,000 square feet. Now, this particular Westbrook, the lot size, the minimum that I've seen is about 6,500. Well, that's about an eighth of an acre. 5,000 square feet is an eighth of an acre, 6,500, maybe a seventh of an acre. But the adjacent existing development right beside it, those folks have half-acre lots, 20,000 square feet, 4 times as big as a 5,000 square foot lot. And on the Buchanan Estates development that was rejected in January of 2016, there were a number of reasons listed in Judge Thompson's ruling as to why it was rejected by the commission and he upheld. And one of the primary ones was that it doesn't conform to the 2035 plan. Now, if a low-density PUD right adjacent to an existing low-density PUD, Tower Hill, which is already there, doesn't conform to the 2035 plan, then how can this medium-density PUD that's unlike anything around it on the west side of Drakes Creek conform to the 2035 plan? Now, on Buchanan Estates, after negotiations with the developers, they got the total density down to 1.9 houses per acre. That's total density for the whole development, and a minimum lot size of 13,000 square feet. Now, that's still smaller than a half-acre lot, but it's a far cry bigger than a 6,500 square foot lot, twice as big. And one of the reasons that it was rejected was that the density was too high, lot size is too small. Now, in Westbrook, we have a higher overall density, 2.2 as compared to 1.9. We have much smaller lots, 6,500 square feet as compared to 13,000. And we feel like the west side of Drakes Creek, where we live, is just as good as the east side of Drakes Creek, where Buchanan Estates was. It's not even a mile down the road. And we're just asking for equal protection. We feel like we are deserving of the same protection as our neighbors up the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Ms. Harriet Bible. What's that?
Hard name, right?
Well, no, it shouldn't be. Just want to make sure. Ms. Bible is at 102 Eliza Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Eliza Street, yeah. My name is Harriet Bible. Commissioners, we salute you tonight, but I feel like, I'd like to feel like you care about our concerns, but after many meetings, I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't understand why someone from the developer always speaks last. We never get the opportunity to challenge or question them about anything that's going on. I feel like we're now living in a society that doesn't have free speech. At the last meeting, we were sort of told to hush, and it was abruptly closed when someone said no one would be crazy enough to let their kids walk down Long Hollow Pike when the developer said they were going to make a walking lane for these children. So that was a concern. Next, it just feels like when they surrounded us, it was just, didn't feel like we were in America anymore, truthfully. So a lot of us grew up together in Shackle Island. When you're everyone's parents, when you're everyone's grandparents, when you're the people that were buried in the community, I mean, in the historical cemetery that will be next to this, our grandparents, great-grandparents, people from the Civil War, people that fought in the Revolutionary War there. Now, Shackle Island has constantly been changing over the years. We have accepted this, but things now seem to be crammed down our throats. There has to be a middle ground. We're not asking for nothing. We're not asking for anything outrageous. We just like to think that our feelings are being considered and that there is a middle ground that everyone can come to. We're not asking for anything outrageous. We just consider that we consider our concerns outside the box. I'd like you to consider about outside the box. I don't feel like every subdivision coming down Long Hollow now has to have every house that looks alike. That may change the front for a porch to a non-porch, but if you look at the houses, it's like the old song used to be, little houses on the hillside, little houses built to ticky-tack, and the kids all went to college. Now, if you go down Long Hollow before these new subdivisions, every house didn't look alike. My subdivision, none of the houses hardly look alike. I live in country home estates. Everybody either has a 1 acre or a 2 acre lot because we're on the septic tank. But our homes are well kept and everyone cares about it. So it just thinks that y'all should think about some of these things. And we appreciate the history of Shackle Island that we love. And I think it's time for some people to stand with us. Traffic is a problem, and you know what Durham Farms is going to be like, and they're cutting the road across onto Long Hollow. So when they say there's not going to be any traffic problems with this subdivision, we're already going to have the profit from Durham Farms. The roads are just not there yet. And 2 weeks ago, 2 kids went over from Beach School to Worsham Store, and they got hit. So it's not like there's just no traffic anymore. There's plenty of traffic out there. And bigger is not always better. So we thank you, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Ms. Diane Kaiser from 1006 Carriage Hills Drive in Hendersonville is up, and Ms. Kay Lamberson is up after her. Okay, we'll try to come back to her if she comes back in. Ms. Lamberson, are you here? Okay. We have Kay Lamberson from 108 South Windridge Way in Goodlettsville. And Ms. Sarah Ezel will be up next.
I would just like to ask the commissioners to not approve this with the numbers that they're asking for, the number of houses. It's just too many in that area. And I would also like to ask the people who have a conflict, the commissioners who have a conflict of interest, please do not vote on this. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Lamberson. Ms. Sarah Ezel from 787 New Shackle Island Road in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And if someone will, if she's coming, when Ms. Kaiser comes back in, if someone will just prompt her to wave at me, and then I'll get her in the queue. Go ahead, Ms. Ezel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to voice my objections to this subdivision. I have met with the developers in connection with the Historic Beach Cemetery. They have been very pleasing. I thank them for that and their recommendations on protecting that cemetery. But I cannot say I am for this subdivision with the density that is being proposed. We have traffic problems, we have school problems, we have lot size problems, we have water problems. Houston is a fine example of what a lot of development can do in an area. You're going to take 45 acres. You're going to cover the majority of that land, that open soil that can absorb the moisture, the water, and cover it with houses, rooftops, sidewalks, asphalt, concrete. That water is going to go somewhere. Shackle Island will be flooded from it. It cannot be any other way. If we have rain like some of the rains that have come, say, back in May, this is a concern to me. It's a concern to me as a property owner in the area, as well as a concern for the cemetery that is adjacent to the property. And for these reasons, I cannot say that I am for this development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ezell. Ms. Janet Poole, and she is at 101 Leeward Point, Hendersonville, Tennessee.
I'm getting old. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I am not a good public speaker, by the way. We are all here again talking about 99 houses next to the historic cemetery. I poured my heart and soul out the last time I got up here and spoke at the initial planning commission meeting. And I'm not going to do it tonight. I swore I was not going to cry about this, but I can't help it. Why, you ask? Because the people that are against this development, I was once on their side. And I can no longer be part of what they are saying, and much less what they are standing for. Like many community members, I have concerns about this development of Westbrook off the Long Haul Pike. You see, Beach Cemetery sits to the right of this new subdivision and holds a sentimental value to me, my family, and this community. Since the 1800s, it has been the resting place for souls, including members of my family, and I am the 7th generation. Many men who have fought for this country, this historic landmark, is important to the history of this community, and it is vital for us to protect it. So what has Tennessee Homesite done to protect this precious place and area? I have not heard one person out of this whole room say anything positive. Well, for starters, it was clear that they had taken their time, spent countless hours to accommodate requests, and sought after top-notch land planners and engineers that Sumner County has never seen before. You don't want this next to the historic cemetery? I sure do. They have gone overboard in planning for Westbrook, underground utilities, sidewalks, and greenways for children, so parents won't have to worry about their children getting ran over either walking to school or going over to a friend's house to play. They are putting in streetlights for people who are going to live there for their safety. HOA? Yes, I say HOA. That will maintain the fence, the shrub, and the berm, and the church will not have to lift one finger to maintain it. Part of the HOA dues will go to the fire hall across the street. I don't understand why the other developments don't already do this. And the best thing I have liked myself personally is that there will be a common area for family and children to meet and play. We all know that there's mischievous children in this world, and with this common area in place, they're less likely to go play in the cemetery, and it's a win-win for everyone. I want an upscale development next to this cemetery that will maintain to the fullest for years to come, and Tennessee Homesite is going to do just that. Has anyone besides me done their due diligence on Tennessee Homesite? The good and the positive things they have done for our community in Sumner County? I haven't heard anybody say anything about that. Well, let me assure you I have. For starters, Rob Horton, along with Stan Fields, are no outsiders to our community. Rob has lived here since 1971 and has seen all the change and growth firsthand. All he wants to do is to make where he lives a better place for the future generation and this community. Stan is the same way. Together, they have already put a positive impact right here in our community. So why on earth would you not want the Westbrook development and them to build upon it? I want to tell you some examples of their accomplishments, to name a few. At the Hendersonville Library, the greenway alongside of it, it has the most used greenway in Sumner County. They are revamping the streets at Indian Lake as we speak. Look what a mess the previous owners left behind. Look at the community who decided to pack up, close down, and leave Hendersonville for the Ethan Allen store. Rob and Stan bought this building and he returned it to one of the most nicest profitable buildings in Hendersonville.
Time's up, Ms. Poole.
I am sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
But I have 5 more minutes. Not 5 more minutes, 2 more minutes.
I can't. I know, Ms. Poole, I would love to give everybody all night to talk, but I can't. I'm so sorry. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know.
Because there has been so much negativity, so much hate in our community.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to talk about it.
Yes, ma'am, and I wish I could let you.
I am. You can't. I'm sorry. You're going to have to escort me out.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ms. Poole. I always want every citizen to be able to talk, but we've got to give everybody a chance. Mr. Stephen Juergens is up next, and Mr. Don Dickerson is on deck. Mr. Juergens is from 1010 Kellen Lane in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Mr. Juergens, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, commissioners. I do live at 1010 Kellen Lane. This property backs up to the Westbrook development. I am not opposed to development on that property. I am opposed to the density that they are asking for. I'm opposed to the rezoning. I have come to enjoy, after 22 years of service in the United States Air Force, my home in Sumner County for the last 14 years. I am proud to be a resident of Sumner County. Rural Sumner County is a great place to live, but it's fast becoming not rural. If you take an aerial view of Sumner County coming out of Goodlettsville, coming out of Hendersonville, you will see Johnny Appleseed has been there, house after house after house after house, side by side by side by side. Yes, the developer has come up with many concessions to accommodate the greenway next to the cemetery. That is great common decency, would be expected by any developer. The street lights, I for one enjoy going out in my backyard, looking up in the sky, seeing the stars, because I do not live in the city and there are not street lights out there. I enjoy hearing the birds, the animals, the squirrels. I enjoy being able to see from my backyard across the land. You build houses side by side by side, and soon we will be annexed into the city. Soon we will become part of the city. That is not what I had for my dream when I chose to come to Sumner County. I ask you to listen to me as one of the residents, as one of your constituents. I believe I speak for my neighbors. I've heard the same sentiment from them. I agree with Mr. Stone's comments and the other lady that came up here and said things to the same. And to say that this developer has jumped through many hoops, none of them have been about the point of rezoning, and that is what we are opposed to here. Rezoning. Their idea of medium density is not medium density. That is low density. It's going to be very crowded over there. When you cannot see between the houses hardly. When one catches on fire and the next one's going to, and the next one after that. Is this what we want in rural Sumner County? I, for one, do not. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Juergens. Again, I would ask everybody to refrain from clapping. Mr. Dickerson, Mr. Don Dickerson from 1001 Devon Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Thank you, Mr. Dickerson.
I'll be extremely brief because I tend to agree with just about everything that everybody preceding me, Nathan, Mr. Juergens, has said. I live at the top of the hill at Kalen Lane. Been there since Labor Day 2004. I'm easy to find. I'm a retired Marine. There's a flagpole in front of my house. Okay? I have family, believe it or not, buried in that cemetery over there, and I'm not in a hurry, but I kind of expect to be planted there someday myself. I had a couple of things, but they've already been pretty well covered. One thing I would like to point out about this proposed greenway, and you'll probably see it in the presentation later on tonight, you take a look at it, it not only runs parallel to Long Hollow Pike, it's going to have to cross 6 driveways. The church, the house is the church, the road to the cemetery, the lodge, 2 4-lane roads that go into the school. And those places are just frantic in the morning with left turns lane. Not a place for kids to walk. That's just a trinket. Not well thought out at all. Okay. I want it to be clear, and I am, by the way, the Assistant Chief of Shackle Island Fire Department. I'm also on the Board of Zoning Appeals and on the Airport Authority. That may have changed earlier tonight. I don't know. Hadn't yet? Okay. I don't want the developer to get the credit for donating the money to the fire department. We're happy to take the money. We'll take anybody's money. We love you all. Okay? We need it. But that money is not coming out of the developer's pocket. It's coming out of the people who buy the houses. Just keep that thought clear. Okay? It hasn't been exactly presented to you that way. The developer's expense in that is going to be whatever administrative effort is required to set that up in the HOA. And don't forget, HOAs, that's my understanding, by law, have to have a definite end period. There may come a time when there is no HOA there. Okay? I'm sure the law officer can rule on that. The traffic issue's been belabored fairly well. The only amelioration that we've heard about is being the addition of a turning lane at the entrance. Well, turning lanes are mostly a benefit to those turning into a side or secondary street, and then only to traffic trying to proceed in the same direction. They do little for safety because left turns are involved. Somebody's going the other way. And there's a reason that FedEx, UPS, and school bus routes, wherever possible, are laid out to avoid left turns. And with the increased speed that we now have there, 30 miles an hour, during school zone, the inevitable, and I'm telling you, it's going to be inevitable. You would not believe how many car wrecks we work a year. We've had already at least 6 or 7 at Drakes Creek and New Shackle. The increased speed, the severity is going to be worse. That's a simple law of physics. Okay? I was going to request, having seen the reliability of the system over the last couple of meetings that we've had here, that if this comes to a vote, and I think it will, that the vote be simply taken by roll call, as called out for as permissible Robert's Rules of Order. Name my name. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dickerson. Is Ms. Kaiser back? Okay. Ms. Diane Kaiser from 1006 Carriage Hills Drive in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and Mr. David Bowden will be up next. Ms. Kaiser, the floor is yours.
Can I give my 5 minutes to David Bowden?
No, ma'am.
5 minutes each person. Okay. I live right across, I'm Diane Kaiser, and that's where I live. I live right across the road from Long Hollow Baptist Church. I know we've all talked about the flooding in the roads, and I have the same concerns as everybody. I get flooding all the way down from Buchanan. The 30-mile-an-hour school zone is horrible. I have family in the fence row of the cemetery, and I don't I don't like the high density, I don't like the low density. I agree with what everybody else has said.
Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Mr. David Bowden from 344 Happy Hollow Road in Goodlettsville.
Yeah, it used to be called Red Hill Road, but they changed that name back in the 70s. Last week, Monday, the Belvedere building here was closed down for the eclipse, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today, I have been upstairs in the legal office looking at the issues concerning this PUD development next to the cemetery. I would like to say that I am thoroughly impressed with the responsible care and caretaking of the records. They're there. Everything is there. In 5 minutes, I couldn't even cover half of what I've got, but let me just say that I want to thank Mr. Holt. He was very professional. His law people upstairs was very professional. They give me everything, and would have got anything I asked them, and they wanted to help me. And I feel very proud to be associated with people like that act like professionals. Now, the lady was talking about the Tennessee home sites. At Westbrook, them old boys got beat up pretty good, but they hadn't got nothing to do with this. Really, they just building the houses. But that Rob Horton, Stanley Fields, I know them. They fell on top of me like a ton of bricks back in 2007 and bought my property up on Happy Hollow, but the problem is I didn't sell it. And it cost me tens of thousands of dollars to keep my property, and even though they knew they were doing wrong. Now, that's who's doing this next to the cemetery.
Yeah, I'm going to, Mr. Bowden, I'm going to ask that you not
Tennessee home sites. Tennessee, sir.
Mr. Bowden, I'm going to ask you not to say anything directly about a citizen of Sumner County. I ask you to direct your comments to the chair.
Tennessee home site next to the church. They brought it in on April 25th along with retail development project down at Shackle Island next to the church. That piece of property has been misrepresented.
Mr. Bowden,
it has.
That is not what's before us tonight on the agenda. I ask that you speak.
Okay, the water quality, the water issue for that subdivision is impacted by what Tennessee Homes has done down at that crossroads on plot number 4401, not the church. It does not, and it did not then. It was issued a temporary permit in 2012, and it was a 2-year permit that they didn't renew in 2014. Okay. Stick to the subject. The subject is rainwater. Where's the non-point pollution go? It goes to the creek in front of the subdivision and runs a quarter mile down the road into the impacted by the same people. These people here and these people here have done them both at the same time. Now, they're saying I'm out of order for bringing that up, but maybe the county would like to spend the time I spent up yonder and look at the record keeping, because when they move on that other thing that I can't talk about, you're going to find out there's holes in there you can run a herd of cows through. There's no proper paperwork at all with any of that. And I'm telling you, it's the truth. And I'm not lying about it. I got it all right here, but y'all don't want to hear all that. So let's just say that they got a problem with the water runoff, and they're going to have a bigger one if they don't address what they done down the road to hurt it, not help it. So, and I tell you this too, in '86, when we got that historical district designation, everybody was real proud of that. The county, the state, everybody. And Mr. Holt says in that 2035 outlook for Sumner County, he wants us to be involved. He wants our input. But we got somebody like Mr. Taylor, who is he's disenfranchised. I'm talking on the subject. But I'm talking on the subject. He's disenfranchised us. He did not let. We will not allow any voice in the planning. We won't allow them at all. We won't allow
Miss Debbie Robinson, you're up next. Miss Connie O'Neill will be on deck. Miss Robinson is from 2843 Long Hollow Pike, Hendersonville, Tennessee, 37075. Miss Robinson, you have 5 minutes.
I don't think I can top that. I'm going to go back to my public speaking 101. I'm not very good at this, y'all, so kind of bear with me here for a minute. There are advantages of going kind of late in the game because so many people have already said everything I was going to say. I can just kind of say, I agree. But I am going to kind of go through my notes here quickly. Everybody's talking about Houston, and if you would remember back to when we had our water problems here, not this past May, but I believe it was 2010 when all of that happened. And Shackle Island was like the rest of the communities in Sumner County. We were really affected by that. And this is a problem that is going to continue as long as there's more development. I'm not against the development. Let me say that one more time. I'm not against the development. I am against the density of the development. I mean, I think we're looking at maybe a difference of 10 houses, 15 houses when you get down to numbers. Nathan Stone is really good at knowing that exactly, and I'm not. But I mean, we're talking a few number of houses. If this person or the people that are developing could just cut back, 15 homes, we might be looking at something that everybody would agree with. And to me, I don't understand why there's such a problem here with that. Sarah Ezel pointed out the fact that with the development, there's no absorption of water in the land. I totally agree with that. One thing you should know, along with living in the community practically all my life, I'm also an employee at Beach Cumberland Presbyterian Church. So I am very pleased with what the developer has done with our historic cemetery and the work that they are going to do there. I think that's wonderful and I appreciate it, but it's like someone else said, you should. If a developer's coming in, they should want to do something like that. Let's see, down on my notes here. One thing that I have talked about at every time I guess the codes people have met, I have brought up the fact that there should be a historic overlay for Shackle Island. This is the only community, and Shackle Island is a community, in Sumner County that had 5 homes on the National Historic Register and a church. Unfortunately, there's only 3 of those homes still remaining and the church, but we need to be able to protect the history in our community. And once you all turn loose of keeping the rural atmosphere of Shackle Island community, and the first time that you let a bulldozer in there to put in a large number of homes on a small lot, you are losing a very important part of the history of Sumner County. All we're asking for is not make high density, not change the zoning, keep what it is. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Ms. Connie O'Neill from 2010 New Hope Road, Hendersonville, Tennessee. Ms. O'Neill, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm going to not say anything that was on my paper because everybody said it much better than I have. We, I guess, own one and the remains of 2 of the historical homes in Shackle Island. And we bought the property 3 years ago to keep out some of the development that was wanting to occur there on the corner of New Shackle and, Long Hollow and New Hope Road. And we're against the density. We're not against the development coming into the area and improving it, but we really need to look at maintaining the historical piece. I know we're trying, and I think it would be a big disservice if we put that kind of a density next to the cemetery and the historical church. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill, and that ends our public comments. We will now hear from Tennessee Homesites. They will for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. My name is Mike Stanton. I do represent TN Homesites. Before I get started, you guys have been through a lot tonight already, and I'll be as brief as I can. I want to just address some of the comments that were made publicly so that I can let you know what they are. As far as the lot size, and I think the reference was to our rear access homes, the average lot is 7,957 square feet, and the largest lot is 12,743. So quite a bit larger than I think what the perception is. Also about drainage, and we appreciate the comments. We held community meetings early on and wanted and encouraged comments that helped draft the plan. We're actually retaining 15% more of the drainage after full development than pre-development. In addition to that, we are also having to do bioretention, which helps with percolation of water down into the soils. So in addition to the retaining 15% more than what's currently leaving the site now, we also are providing water quality and bioretention. And so I wanted to make that clarification before I got in the presentation and maybe overlooked that. Also, as far as density, and we'll talk about that in a second, we're providing 25.4% open space. If you looked at Westbrook without open space, which is similar to the community next door, which has no open space, we'd have acre lots. So I just wanted to make those clarification points to make sure that for the record, we've said, I've cleared those up. Again, I'm going to be as quick as I can. Is the presentation up? Do I need to go reset it? Again, I'll be as quick as I can. I know you have a lot more on your agenda tonight. I first want to say that the Westbrook plan that you see tonight, and some have already seen this, we've tried again to make this a collaborative effort by meeting with community members in the beginning, also Planning Commission members, staff, County Commission, just to get as much input as we can. So Westbrook is not a plan singularly created by us. It started with us, but then we've had a collaborative effort since then to come up with a plan that we've got now. Currently, under the 2035 plan, which was mentioned in public comment, this area is technically in what's called the High Growth Center, which is a mix of commercial services and community facilities, and also would allow structures up to 3 stories tall. We don't think that's appropriate in this location, and that's why we're not presenting that. The current zoning is R1A. We're asking that to be changed. There's a lot of bullet points up behind me, and I really don't want to go through those, but it's if we would develop like we could with minimal control from this body or from the county, it would be something none of us would be proud of. It's not something we really want to put our name to. So it's currently zoned R1A, and there's a lot of flexibility in what could be built on that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I want to spend more time on the positives of what Westbrook really is and what it does for the community. It is we are asking for medium density. Medium density allows up to 3.5 units an acre. We're actually at 2.18, which is on the lower than the high side of the low density qualification. The purpose that the reason we're asking for the medium density is only to allow the rear access homes or that's geared toward empty nesters. I think there's been some comment about, if we approve medium density tonight and we don't do anything with the property, somebody else could come in and develop it at a higher density. For the sake of this room, not this body, because you know it, this is contract zoning. What's approved tonight is what the contract with the county is. Anything that changes other than this plan has to come back before this body. We've spent, again, like I said, a lot of time throughout 6-7 months creating this plan. Before you are 5 different iterations of things that, of the different plans after we met with different people to come up with plan number 5. One of the comments was give up 15 homes. We gave up 13. And in addition to that, we added a lot of other things. And I'll quickly go through the list. We reduced the lot count from 112 to 99. We lowered our density from 2.47 to 2.18. We moved the main entry location to the eastmost portion of the property to create separation between us and Victoria Place. That was came straight from a comment from a neighbor in Victoria Place. It was a good comment, one we hadn't thought of. So that's where the collaborative effort comes into play. We increased the open space by more than double, from 12.5 to 25.4%. We agreed to add a greenway that was mentioned tonight. I think the greenway that was mentioned or shown way back in the beginning probably crossed some of the entrances that was noted in public comment, but that has been shortened to the first entrance into the school, and I'll show you that in just a second. We removed the open connection to Victoria Place. We agreed to add an emergency gate between Westbrook and Victoria Place. Two big things. We agreed to add the 35-foot buffer to the east and west side of the property. We also agreed to add a berm with landscaping at the existing cemetery. And I know that's, as was said tonight, that should be expected, but there's a cost to that, and it's about a $75,000 expense. And we're happy to do it as part of this plan. We agreed to add a 6-foot black vinyl-coated fence. We agreed to add decorative street lights and street signs. We agreed to remove all front-loaded homes, which was on the original plans. And we did agree to fund the fire department through the HOA. And the gentleman was correct. This really isn't coming out of our pocket. It's coming from the homeowners, but you're putting the onus on the homeowners, which makes it difficult potentially to sell your property. So we felt like that the fire department isn't funded properly. And we wanted to do our part, and I agree with the comment that was made. There should be other communities that step up and do the same thing. The master plan. Our master plan is a hybrid of existing zoning classifications combined with higher open space, which I believe is what the county's trying to go to. It's a perfect blend of current and future plans resulting in high-quality development, which will enhance the values in the area. Just to point out a few things, there is 41 rear access homes, and I'll show you those in a second. There's 58 side entry homes. This development will have all underground utilities, sidewalks on both sides of the street. As mentioned earlier, it's to be an HOA-maintained community. All of these things are needed to demand the pricing, which we estimate to be from $375,000 to $500,000. We also, as you can see, I'm trying to look backwards, but we intentionally left this area green to maintain the rural feel. We intentionally didn't back up any houses by design to Long Hollow Pike, so when you're driving down, you're not looking at the backs of homes. We have additional guest parking for our future homeowners for our alley access home. You can see the 35-foot buffer that we're providing both for the cemetery and for our neighbors at Victoria Place. Again, all these things was a collaborative effort based on input from numerous people. The entry, we wanted to make sure that We were kept harmonious with what you would see going down Long Hollow Pike in that rural feel, so we're doing a really neat entrance with stone columns and gas lanterns, a 5-rail fence. I do want to point out, we do want to make sure that what we do is improving traffic, not hindering traffic, so we are showing a left-hand turn lane into our development. We're also, for the benefit of our homeowners, showing 2 lanes out, so that if you're needing to go to work to Nashville, you're not queued up in a line waiting to get across. As you can imagine, in the market that we're in today, we've been just bombarded with builders wanting to take this project. And we were as selective as we were at the quality that we expected of ourselves for this community. We wanted to make sure that the builder was equally qualified with the high-quality homes. This is a representation of some of the alley homes. This product is linear, so it's a rear access. As you can see, parking and garage access is from the rear. It is internal to the site. When we chose this builder, we looked at a lot of things. We looked at how do you build your houses? What are the elements that you do? Things like putting dormers on houses when you really don't need to. Heavy column details, dormers, and things like that that enhance the home, enhance the streetscape, improves the value. These homes have the same 8-foot side setback as the rest of the development. Fire departments actually prefer an alley rear access home because it gives them 2 ways to fight a fire. This is a streetscape rendering of what the rear access looks like. It also, if you look to the right, it shows really high quality, how high quality this is. This is not cheap housing by any means. Again, $375,000 to $500,000. Again, another image of a streetscape. I do want to bring one attention to detail, and this is one of the things we liked about this builder. When he builds on a corner lot, he goes through the extra expense of wrapping the porch to the side and also does landscaping down the side. Again, that extra quality that you're looking for in a community and in a development. This is an example of what crowded looks like. The image to the left is our proposed rear access homes. The image to the right is front access homes. As you can tell by this image, this is really not what we want to see. This is what we want to see. People parking on sidewalks, parking in the streets, rear access homes. You don't have that with rear access homes. In addition to that, we're offering and we're putting in 36 additional guest parking for those alley homes. This is an example of the Signetry homes. Again, high quality, attention to detail, metal roofing, heavy columns, dormers when they don't need to be there, just for aesthetic purposes, and just really cost more money. Again, another example with some interior shots, just again, really focusing on the high quality of the development. We are going to be doing sidewalks on both sides of the street. We think that's important. We are proposing the greenway actually from our entrance to this first entrance to Beach. I think the comment was that originally this went all the way down, and we realized that probably wasn't the safest route, so we did make that modification. And of course, you'll see that we're doing detention. There's multiple detention sites on locations on this development. And this greenway will go in, again, subject to Sumner County's acquisition of right-of-way and providing that for the greenway. This is the amenity area that was mentioned in the public comment. We felt it was important to bring community to the development, to give people a place to connect, which is important. This is a covered pavilion. It's just a social gathering area. Again, enhancing quality of the development. And then this is an example of what we're actually doing as a benefit of the cemetery. We are showing this landscape berm, fencing. We've also agreed to go in and take out the existing barbed wire fence, which is going to be cumbersome. We've agreed to do that, put the fence in. We have the 35-foot buffer. There were some earlier comments in earlier meetings that, the backs of the houses would be right up against the cemetery. So I wanted to make sure that for your benefit, you saw that, the typical residential home sits about 40 feet from the property line, and then you had that additional 35 feet. So you've got about 75 feet typically between the house and, in this case, the cemetery. We wanted to bring the highest quality development and homes with Westbrook. That's been our focus from day one. We wanted something that we could be proud of, something that we could drive our kids and our grandkids down past and through in the years to come and say, we did this. And we also think and believe that this will set the tone. This potentially could set the bar for what future communities in the county could look like. And with that, I told you I'd be quick. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. All right, I said that our process would be public comments and then comments from the developer and then commissioners. I'd like to start, the queue, of course, will be open, but go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Kemp's going to explain the way we're going to work the queue tonight.
One point about the microphone system, the queue is not working the way we're familiar with. Once you push your microphone button, the camera, they're not coincided, the camera comes to you. So you need to ask to be recognized by raising your hand, not pushing the button to get into the queue. And when the chairman recognizes you, you can either turn your microphone on then, or I'll be glad to turn it on for you. At this point, we're still working with the request to speak to have it familiar the way we're used to working with it. So at this point, if you want to speak, just be recognized by the chairman, and then when you turn your mic on, we'll go from that way.
Mr. Hyde, without objection, I'm going to start with the District 11 commissioner, since this development is in District 11, and then you'll be first after we get through that. I just want to say a few things. First, I'm appreciative of the interest in the community. It reflects well on Shackle Island and our community and our district that people are involved in the process. When I met with the developer, I asked for three things. I asked that the cemetery be protected. I asked that there be provisions made for the fire hall, and I asked that it match the beauty of the area. Something that I know a lot of people just from reading Facebook comments don't believe is that the current R1A zoning opens us up to a lot of threats, especially to the cemetery, with no provisions for many of the aesthetic things that are there. This passed through unanimously in zoning. I think everything's been out in terms of the comments, in terms of the presentation we've seen tonight. But I am very happy that we've got a 35-foot buffer. We've got the berm. We've got the 6-foot fence to protect the cemetery. I'm fearful that if we allow someone to purchase it or do something on the current R1A zoning, we open ourselves up to a lot of problems for protection for the cemetery. Absolutely nothing probably for the fire hall. If you look I agree completely that the model for the future should be for developments if they're in a county area without fire protection, it should be part of the homeowners association to contribute to the local volunteer fire department. I know fire halls spend a tremendous amount of money trying to raise money, and you've got the free rider problem that everybody benefits from the fire hall, but not very many people contribute, and they have to work tirelessly to raise money. I like the greenway, the walking trails, the many other things that match the beauty of the area. I think leaving it at R1A is a risk that we would greatly regret in 5 or 10 years. Commissioner Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, like many of us, have spent hours meeting and talking to representatives from both sides of this project. It's obvious tonight, that the majority of people here are against it. And I understand their argument: traffic, flooding, and high density. But I've also heard from the church and the relatives of those buried there. Can't hear from the ones buried there, but their relatives are vocal. And they want to protect the dignity and serenity of that historic cemetery. I would be disappointed if I were buried there and what an R1A will allow could be next to it. I'll go over that in a minute. What you've stated, Mr. Chairman, and what I've learned, only a PUD can guarantee the cemetery and Victoria Pace the privacy they want and they ask for. In addition to requiring them to widen Long Hollow Pike for a turning lane, they will also maintain consistency in the quality and aesthetics of the homes. R1A is the current zoning. What does R1A guarantee? If you want to look at what can happen, ask Gallatin, the city of Gallatin, why are they putting all these duplexes in there? The answer is, if it's zoned for it, we can't stop it. R1A is zoned for whatever, the only thing it can guarantee is 40,000 square foot lots and no single wide mobile homes. There are no other restrictions. There are no restrictions on building materials, building style, building consistency, roads and gutters, curbs. There will not be a buffer next to Victoria Place. There will not be a buffer nor a fence next to the cemetery. In fact, R1A allows within 5 feet of the property line, so 5 feet of the cemetery, someone could build a tool shed, a garage, an above-ground pool, a swing set. In the county, you can put chicken coops next to the cemetery in lieu of the 35-foot landscaping that the Westbrook has promised. With all that in mind, if this should pass, I'm committed to following the process with this project to ensure that they follow every guideline or restriction that they have agreed to. They've agreed to this, a density equal to low-density PUD. They've agreed to all these amenities that no, you cannot require R1A to do. And so if they get a deviation from the plan, I'll be the first one in the county to issue a stop work order and review the entire process. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Mr. Hyde, if you'll push your button. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm hearing here tonight is a problem that I believe we have countywide. I know we have it in my district, and it can be summed up in one word, and that is overdevelopment. There are developments in my community similar to this, or worse than this, where you could reach from one bedroom window to the next and shake hands. Mm-hmm. And this is a real problem for Sumner County at this time. It is a real problem because we sit up here and we're dealing with things that we panic about: schools, roads, fire, police, libraries, on and on and on, that overdevelopment brings. And then what is the result of that? Well, we had to have a tax increase to keep up with it. I think really, as I have thought about this in my own mind, we need to have our planning department to do a rezoning or a look at rezoning over the entire county and put the brakes on overdevelopment until we can catch up. And that's what we're in. We're in a catch-up mode right now until we can catch up with all of these services that we cannot provide at this time. I will not be voting for this development.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Again, I ask that we hold applause. Is there anyone else in the queue? Yes, Mr. Chris Taylor.
I'd just like to address this from a budget perspective. I've been on budget since I've been in the commission. I've done a little bit of research beforehand, and obviously one of the big things we had issue with was long-term planning for our county. It hadn't been done to any degree, and part of that was the recession that hit us, so it made it hard on previous commissions to plan when you didn't have anything to plan with. That being said, it's this county's in a great financial situation in the sense that we are providing the services that are needed at this time. We actually just recently increased the E11 center. We're doing some other things. We bought land to build a new school when it's needed. It's not needed yet, but we're prepared to buy it, to build that when it is. We have a long-term bond set up so that we have the money to build the schools. If a tornado comes through, we can address those concerns of buildings being torn down. And in addition, please don't think of taxes at any point will be raised, because we have different revenue sources that were planned on. You can't count on residential taxes for a county. That's impossible. It's an unviable economic model. You have to have its business. In about 2.5 to 3 years, hopefully, Hendersonville will have paid off the TIF for Hendersonville. If you're not familiar with it, that should be an additional $3 to $4 million for the county every year. That's from business. That's from bringing in those. That's from building up the county. The idea that we can just stop building, it's not going to happen. The mid-state's growing and there's no way we can get around it. There are properties that are zoned R1A already. They're going to be built on. We have an opportunity now to actually set a standard for our county, to say if you want to build here, you have to do something. You have to make it better than you found it. And I think it's about time we start doing that. We've got a builder that we started it with Buchanan Estates, and if you're familiar with it, the Planning Commission did a great job of holding the hammer over their head and making them agree to a lot of things that have never been done before. It didn't pass. We're on to the next one, and this one. They're doing more. They're more responsible with it. They're setting up things that are prepared. What we've done is, by this community, being Westbrook, we're saying to any other builder that wants to come in our county or build here already, you have to do at least these things. And it's that set agenda up there. You have to have green space. You have to take into account traffic. You have to take into account the natural beauty of an area. And Mr. Hyde is perfectly right. We do have to rework the zone. Our zoning laws are archaic and not protecting our county in any shape, form, or fashion. In fact, that's why we have a lot of the problems we have with some of the other subdivisions with flooding and other things. All that to say, please help us set the standard for our county. It's tonight. We can grab it. We've talked for years now about planning and long-term planning and making a difference for our generation, the next generation. This is the way to do it. It's the way to start, is to actually plan ahead and do it. So I'll obviously be supporting it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chris Taylor. I see no one else in the queue. Is there a motion to, motion made by Commissioner Pospisil. Let me make sure I have it correct, Mr. Pospisil, to change the zoning as mentioned in the public notice. Okay, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Kruger. Let's put this on the board.
We still have, before you push a button to vote, you are unable to change. So make your mind up before you push your button. You can't change once your button is pushed. The vote will remain open for 15 seconds once we start the vote. So you will need to push either the red, the green, or the yellow button for that. This is resolutions in the packet.
We are voting to change the zoning from R1A to medium density PUD, as in the packet.
All right, we are. The resolution is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote. $23 votes are entered. Does anyone wish to change your vote? Receiving 19 affirmative votes, the resolution is approved.
And we will close the public hearing on Westbrook, and we will now hear the public notice on Highway 109 zoning change request.
There will be a public hearing at the Sumner County Commission Monday, August the 18th, 2017, 7 p.m. The meeting shall be held in the Sumner County Commission chambers. The meeting will be to discuss and possibly vote on the rezoning of the property listed below. Bridges Land Surveying has requested the rezoning of the following properties from R1A to C2. 1623 Scotty Parker Road, Gallatin, Tennessee, that contains 14 acres. 140 Rainier Lane, Gallatin, Tennessee, that contains 12.9 acres. 199 Rainier Lane, Gallatin, Tennessee, that contains 34.8 acres, and all are zoned R1A. A copy of this notice is on file in the Sumner County Planning and Stormwater Department in the Sumner County Administration Building. Anyone having any interest or desiring to ask any questions concerning this request is invited to attend the meeting.
We'll call this hearing to order. We have one person scheduled to speak on the Highway 109 change. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on Highway 109? Okay. At this time, we'll have Mr. Timothy Brown from 111 Elizabeth Court, Gallatin, Tennessee, come forward.
Commissioners, my name is Timothy Brown, as I said. I'm representing Salem Missionary Baptist Church, which is adjoining the property that they're wanting to change the guidelines on. Our church sits right next to one of the entrances of this property proposal, and in the past, earlier owners of that property had some, I don't know if they had a business or what, and it was very noisy with some of the trucks. And our concern from the church is the possible noise level of that entranceway. It just is within like 50 or maybe 75 or 100 foot from the very side of our church. And tried to get in contact with the developer. Hadn't been very successful. Have had a couple discussions. But I wanted to bring this before the body here this evening, so maybe we can be more aware of that area and some of the residents that live in that area, and if we can keep the noise level. I noticed that this seems like it might be a back entrance to the properties. A lot of weekend travel with commercial businesses, deliveries and things like that. We do worship on Sunday mornings, 10 and 11 o'clock, and we do have services once or twice, revival effort meetings and things like that. We're not against developing of the property. And I was here at the last meeting and I saw where they had steps as far as, some preventions of things that could cause some problems. Great for that. I'm hoping to be able to discuss with this company, and maybe they can do something as far as potential noise pollution that may take place. Look forward to maybe talking with them about that, hoping to at least bring your awareness of that potential problem. Also along the back of the property, on the back of that property, we have us and some other residents. There could be some potential problems with some other residents, also with some noise coming from that, back entrances and things like that. But our main concern and goal is just to, we don't know what to expect, so we're just hoping to make sure that there's some kind of a buffer zone, a fence or something that would be along that area. If you'll notice that the entranceway hugs the side of our property, and there's a whole empty lot there. I don't know if there's a way they might be able to move that road, put a fence up, things like that. But I do appreciate all of your hard work. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comments. Is there, hang on one second, Mr. Foster, is there anyone from land use here to speak tonight? Okay, yes, please come on up. Mr. Good, we'll come to you in just a minute. Or I'm sorry, Mr. Foster, excuse me.
My name's Steve Bridges with Bridges Land Surveying. I'm representing 3 local owners in regards to this rezoning matter that we're here tonight over. The property in question, with the exception of the church area, is situated along Highway 109 and Old Highway 109. The majority of the property we're dealing with here was severed when they created the new Highway 109. And when they did that, the bulk of this property was sandwiched in between the new Highway 109, the 4-lane,
and the railroad. The state of Tennessee, with that being a state road, they limit the access points all along Highway 109. And that's in the interest of public safety. With that limited access along 109 and a railroad track in the back, it's made this property less desirable for any residential development in there. That is why these 3 landowners have requested the highway commercial zoning with the plan unit development overlay. Same thing y'all were talking about earlier. Straight zoning allows things that you don't want. With the plan unit development, it allows us to exclude certain uses out of the just straight C zoning, and we have listed those on the papers that were done, and they were approved by the Planning Commission, and I can go over those if y'all would like to know about those. It also gives the county and the Planning Commission greater and more control over site design. In other words, it's going to allow them to specify building materials, and we have listed those. It also it allows us to specify it's going to be brick or a ornamental masonry on these buildings. It allows us to tell you that if you're going to have a restaurant there or a medical office building, it's going to be a brick building with architectural shingles on it. That is what has been proposed. If you were doing something that is, say, an office warehouse, if that building is going to have a flat roof or something, it's required to have a parapet wall. What they're trying to come up with something that says, look, we don't want to see a lot of spot zoning in the area where we've got a metal building and buildings that do not stand up to the future and is not going to attract more development in there. I'd like to address, if y'all do not mind, I've actually been talking with a Mr. Phillip. I've talked with Phillip with the church on several occasions, and we have already, I was hoping that got relayed. The developers have agreed to put increase the buffer along the side of that road. They would plant additional trees down through that. We agreed with that early on. Also, keep in mind, with this being a PUD, there is a buffer around the perimeter of this where it adjoins any residential property. So those trees along the back or along those houses, those aren't going to be able to be taken out or anything. So you've got those things. If y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to go over any building materials or anything along the lines of exclusions that were excluded out of here. Yes.
Commissioner Shell, sitting right behind me, and myself are commissioners for that district, and we sort of taken aback by, we had no prior notice of this, haven't gotten any call from constituents or from the developer. So can you give us are there any specific plans on what development will go into this area?
No, sir. What all 3 of these people have had recently is people just calling, looking at it as a commercial parcel. More so probably along the line of office buildings or office warehouse or something like that. But it's not zoned that. And we met with the community and the people around there several times. We had multiple meetings. What they were looking for is, let's put something together. It is a conceptual plan that every time that someone comes in, they're going to have to go back to the Planning Commission with a final plan on that. But it sets a standard there that we're not going to end up with a little building, a little building, a little building. And they're going to have to modify with that plan, even if it doesn't build out the exact way it is, where it may show, let's say, 4 office buildings on one side of the road. If a restaurant wants to come in there, well, that may be different. They have to go in there and modify that again. But it at least sets a standard of saying what they have to be with all stone or ornamental. If you got you're going to have a quality building. And it also puts together that same HOA. In that case, it's more of a, trying to think of the term, but it's going to still have the restrictive covenants on that, on what they can and can't do, along with architectural review and everything like that. And it gives the county more control.
Other than the church, can you share with us any other concerns of the residents in that area? Has there been a lot of concern about the rezoning?
The only ones we've heard from is the church.
The church is the only thing?
And we contacted them.
And your plan will accommodate their concern about the excess buffer? Okay.
But if you, on the plan, your main access is probably at some point going to be along the new 109. I can't imagine that you would necessarily use the Scotty Park or the old 109 through there. It might be used more at the beginning or side, but somebody coming down 109, which the amount of traffic that's on that road now, they're going to stay on 109, I would think.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hang on one second. Does anyone else have a question for him? Or are these just general comments? Mr. Chris, do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I'd like to know exactly where this, according to 109, is it on both sides of the 109? We didn't get a big map. Of course, none of us can't read this. I know where it's at. I've been there a lot, but.
I've got some small ones here, Mr. Graves, if you like. I was unaware that you did.
I just need to, if you would just tell me where the.
Right there in Curry.
No, it's on both sides of the road. Is that correct?
Rainier Drive is down off the old 109 before you get to the new 109. Yes. And this property, as you go towards Portland, right there is on the right. You can see, you're driving along and you can see the railroad right behind it. It goes up approximately as far as the cemetery does.
Question, Mr. Becker?
I'm reading correctly. Our documentation here says it's in the 3rd County Commission, but Mr. Foster said it may have been in I don't know what district you are, 4? So is it in the 3rd or the 4th? Which district, or is it in both? Oh, it's in both. Well, this says 3rd, so that's what I was, so it is both? Okay. Okay. That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. You have a question, Mr. Goode? You provided, you have a comment? Okay, hang on just a second. We're going to come back to comments. Mr. Hinton, did you have a question?
Excuse my ignorance, but I couldn't find the drawing. We're not on Scotty Parker now. We're on old 109 that comes from Gallatin out to new 109, right?
Right.
If I go out old 109, it's on the right.
It's on the right.
Okay.
Just as right, where the church is, there's a 50-foot sliver or so up through there.
Okay.
And the rest of this is all along the new 109.
Okay. And now, for whoever wants to answer, if I might, this building, the first building that's going to be put in there will have to go back before planning and zoning. We'll have to have another reading, another review. Is that right?
Not necessarily zoning, but it will. Every building that goes through there have to go through planning to be approved as a final.
Okay. So basically, all we're being asked to do is change this from residential to commercial.
To commercial PUD.
Commercial PUD. Okay.
That gives y'all more restrictions.
Okay. And the distance from the church property over to where you're allowed to put a drive going in this place, you said there'd have to be a required setback. Do you know right off the top what that distance is?
Well, we can't get quite up on that side right up next to them because there's a drain through there, a little bit of a drops off the side. So we're not necessarily going to be right up next to them. That's not our plan to be. And we're going to be leaving enough room. You got a residential buffer there that is required in between residential and commercial. So we can't put that road in there either. So you're probably
okay.
looking at being 30 feet minimum, but we've already said that they'd go in there and beef up that buffer in there.
Okay, so we're talking about 30 foot at the least from his property line. That'd be the minimum.
Yes,
And
sir.
it might, has it worked out because the condition of the land or the situation there, it would probably push you further than that?
I'm sure they would, and it may be further away than that already right now.
Okay, I got you.
You have a question? Go ahead, Mr. Garber.
Okay. Yes, as I understand, you're saying the distance as far as the road, the distance it is from the church, but as, looking at this, at the buildings that are going to be, there are buildings between the road and the church, or could be. And so some of the questions they may be asking about are people that are coming in, loading and unloading. What kind of businesses can be between that road and the church?
You could have anything from offices to a retail. You could have office warehouse. I'll give you an example of office warehouse. Let's say somebody was a medical supply place. They may need to store something. You can't always do that in all residential areas. So, but each time one of those lots or areas is revisited, it's going to go back to the Planning Commission.
So that if we have something that we felt like would be delivering on Sundays at that time or whatever else, the Planning Commission could say, we don't want that at that, you'll have to put that somewhere else on the property.
And if you look at those plans, the way they're drawn, there is no rear entry docks shown on any of those. All of those are to the side or to the front. None of them do we have rear.
Okay, and I would just like to say for the record that part of that is in our district, part of it is in the other district. I did receive one phone call on this, but they left a message. I called back, left my number, never heard back from anybody, so I've heard nothing on either side prior to tonight from this.
Thank you, Commissioner Driver. All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. See more questions. I will now go to the commissioners from that district, and then we've got just a few other questions in the queue. Michelle?
Didn't want to push it in correctly. I just want to say that while this may be a very well thought out and very well planned PUD, unfortunately, the developer has not contacted myself, Jerry Foster, the other two commissioners who this kind of represents. We didn't know about any community meetings that were going on. When we talked about the Westbrook development earlier, that developer did contact us and invite us to those meetings so that we could participate in those and kind of hear from the citizens, hear what their concerns were, see if there were concessions made to meet those concerns. And so for me personally, I have a problem supporting something that I wasn't included in to make sure that those concerns were met. So unfortunately, while this may be a great development rezoning, I cannot support it because I haven't had an opportunity to speak with those constituents who it surrounds and will affect. So until I have an opportunity to do that, I will not be supporting this project.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Driver, did you have anything else?
Just other than to say, I mean, is there something that we can do with this without sending it back to the Planning Commission? If we turn it down tonight, that's the only option, is it has to go back to the Planning Commission.
Mr. Graves, did you have anything about this that you wanted to say?
Mr. Chairman, I can't support this tonight because I don't think there's been enough contact with what's going on out there. Looks like to me there's a road over here that's in question that I don't remember talking about. It's on Gallatin side. It's going into, I don't know what road that is now, but it's showing a road going to a transit station. But that's really all I have is a road here, and I don't remember talking about the roads in any way when we was talking about county roads.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Graves.
Yeah.
Mr. Good, then Mr. Pospisil, then Ms. Kemp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a real brief comment. Actually, I'm going to make a motion. I think, in my opinion, there was so much scuttlebutt and so much conversation about Westbrook and everything else that was going on, this got lost in the dust of that event. Because it did go through planning and pass unanimous. Rodney has put his blessing on it, if I'm not mistaken, Rodney? Yes. And I think it went through there twice. It was docketed in legislative. In every case, they were all unanimous. The owners were actually here last month. One of them I know for sure, Mr. Wilson, that came up and spoke to me and candidly kind of offered to speak. And again, I think it just got completely lost in the fact that everything on everyone's mind was Westbrook. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, I'm certain, as the speaker just noted, and knowing some of these owners, that they will make every concession there is. But for the sake of wasting any more time, I would make a motion to refer it back through planning, and we'll ask them to the owners to make anything necessary to the commissioners that's missed the meetings we had the last 2 months.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Good. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lamar. So, hang on one second, Mr. Commissioner Taylor, let me just clarify.
No debate, 16 votes.
What is it?
Defer.
I'll change to defer.
Refer is a majority.
I'll take a law director's advice.
Okay, and you're okay with that, Ms. Lamar? Okay, so the motion is to refer,
Which means there can be debate.
refer to planning, to go back through the process to clarify the questions that have come up tonight. It requires a majority vote. It is open to discussion, and Commissioner Bill Taylor's first in the queue.
Since it's already been through planning, I'm trying to figure out the rationale for doing that, or should it be just delayed until they can get information to all the commissioners? Can't do it that way?
Okay. Commissioner Pospisil. Don't take the blue pill, but you can push the blue button. Little matrix.
No, it's.
Wait, that one really didn't come out right now.
Yeah,
I think
no.
about it.
Are you just?
I apologize, Mr. Pospisil. That's not what I meant.
I did just have a birthday on Eclipse Day, so but either I've missed something or we're overthinking this. I thought I understood him to say all they're trying to do is get approved or rezoned for C2. Until we do that, you don't know who's going to build on there, correct? Here we are worried about how big the building going to be and et cetera, et cetera. We got the cart before the horse. Can we not? It's been through these guys 2 or 3 times, and I know how frustrated those committees get. They do their due diligence once, twice, 3 times, have to be escorted to their cars, and then we sit up here and try and reinvent the wheel. Can we not agree to move this on to a C2? They'll have to come back through all of us again once somebody finally says, I want to put a building on here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pospisil. Is anyone else in the queue? Mr. Gamenden.
Yes, I would just like to say that this did pass Planning Commission unanimously. If it's sent back to Planning Commission, we'll just send it back to the County Commission. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gamenden. Mr. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification, I agree 1,000% with everything Mr. Pospisil just said. So the only reason, we got to docket it somewhere. That's the only reason I said planning. It can go to legislative, it can go anywhere. But I just want to make sure that it's somewhere where these commissioners that felt like there's questions they don't have answered can still get them answered. But I would concur with Mr. Pospisil and Mr. Gamenden.
Okay. All right. I see no more discussion on the amendment, to refer this zoning resolution to planning. Okay. Okay. So a yes vote will be to refer it to planning. Okay. A no vote will be to continue on with the motion.
Motion to refer is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote.
Mine's not showing. Nothing's showing.
gonna try that again. That was an amendment. We need to work on that. All right, we're gonna take this one as a motion. Ready? We're gonna start over. Motion to refer is now on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote.
Okay, so yes sends it to the committee, right?
Yes.
$22 votes are entered. Does anyone wish to change your vote? With 14 affirmative votes, the motion to refer is approved.
Okay. It's referred. That ends our second planning meeting. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda? Made by Commissioner Driver, seconded by Commissioner Ring. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Your county officials' reports are on your desk. Notaries, is there a motion to approve our notaries tonight? Motion made by Commissioner Kruger, seconded by Commissioner Kemp, who is all about notaries. I see no discussion. She and Mr. Hinton, hold it down back there. All right, let's go ahead and put the notaries on the board.
On the board, each commissioner, please record your vote. 23 votes are entered. Anyone not voting wish to vote? Anyone wish to change your vote? Notary applications are approved with 23 affirmative votes.
Okay, great. Committee on committees.
Blue, right? Okay, tonight we met, and the first thing that's on your agenda was not on our agenda. That was removed already. The Airport Authority, Regional Don Dickerson, 5-year term. The county executive made the recommendation to reappoint, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Lamarbe, seconded by Commissioner Goode. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
The second thing on the Health and Safety Standards Board is Howell Wilson, 4-year term, recommendation to reappoint. I so move.
Okay. Second. Motion made by Commissioner Lamarbe, seconded by Commissioner Ring. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And the Paul Frills 4-year term is deferred to next month, along with the Sally Wade Brown. The next thing is our 2017-18 committee structure, and the first thing we need to do is to elect a chairman of the commission.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Goode.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, without bragging on all your efforts last year or two, I would make a motion that Mr. Langford retain his position as the chairman.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Goode, seconded by Commissioner Pomeroy. Are there any other nominations? Okay, there's no one jumping in it. You sure anyone else want to be nominated? No, I'm teasing. Okay, all right, motion's been made and seconded. Since there's only one, we'll do it by voice affirmation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. It really is, I won't belabor the point, but it's an honor to serve. We all joke about it, Mr. Decker and I, and Mr. Hyde and I joke about it. There's a certain joy to sitting out there and getting to talk and everything, but it is a real honor for me to serve. I try to do the best job I can and try to be fair to everyone. I know sometimes, I make more people mad than I make happy, but I do the best I can to serve the county, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve. Ms. Lamar.
And I make a motion for Leslie Shell.
Okay. Motion made for pro tem, Ms. Leslie Shell, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. The motion was made by Ms. Lamar, seconded by Commissioner Bill Taylor. Are there any other nominations for pro tem chair? Okay. See no nominations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Lamar.
Ms. Savage has got the slate of the committee structure. Let me remind you, as she's handing these out, we took requests for the appointments last month. Those came in. You'll notice on the list there's very few changes. There was only one person that didn't get their number one, and I spoke with him today. Everybody else got what they asked for. If there are any that intend to resign or not accept your appointment, please make that resignation to the Committee on Committees so we can reappoint someone to that. There will be no resignations taken on the floor.
Okay.
And I'll give you a minute to take a look, and if you have any questions. And while you're looking at that, please note that tonight in the Committee on Committee, we did our vice chairman election, and Commissioner Kruger was elected as vice chairman of the Committee on Committees. So tonight we will be taking a vote on this slate, and then we'll do chairman selections following.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
to put the slate on the floor, I'll make a motion that the slate pass as submitted by Chairman Lamar.
Okay. Motion's been made by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Ring. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. We will recess for 8 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes. Okay. Hang on. Let me explain how I want to do it. I sat around because, you know, it's one of those things you're never completely happy with the way it goes. And I know what happens is we have overlapping committees meeting when we vote for our chairs. So I sat down and I tried to map out so no one had a conflict. And I realized that it's almost impossible to do that. So what I try to do is absolutely minimize the conflict. So if you see, if you're meeting, we've got time. If you're meeting and there's 1 or 2 people missing, if you'll just wait for them to get done at their other committee and come over to you. I do think it'll work best if we first go budget, highway, and beer. That sounds like a country music song. And that'll be our first round. Our second round will be education, emergency services, and general ops. Financial management will elect their chair when they have their first meeting, and then we will elect a chair of legislative after the standing committees chairs are elected. So let's go ahead. I will do this in recess, and budget, highway, and beer if you'll meet first. Oh, let's see. Budget right here, highway here, and beer right there. And Mr. Kemp is going to report our results.
All right, these are the elections of the committee chairs. As already reported previously, the chairman of Committee on Committees will be Lamarb, vice chair will be Kruger. Budget Committee chairman will be Pomeroy, vice chairman Foster. Education Committee chairman Decker, vice chairman Lamarb. Emergency Services Committee chairman Chris Taylor, vice chairman Guthrie. Financial Management will meet and elect a chairman later. General Operations, chairman Shell, vice chairman Hinton. Highway Committee, chairman Graves, vice chairman Hinton. Beer Committee, chairman Akins, vice chairman Graves. Legislative Committee, chairman Good, vice chairman Decker. Ethics Committee will meet later to elect their chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Education. Okay. Highway. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Hinton.
From the Education Committee, there was an article in the paper how we were so successful. The school board was so successful in their last lawsuit about open records law or whatever it was. Does anybody here know enough about that to give us any commentary about it? $200-something thousand, I think, we pitched down the drain.
I think let's refer that to, let's let education handle that in committee and then bring an answer back to us. Would that work?
That'll work.
Okay.
And Monday night is Labor Day.
Yeah.
Labor Day?
Yes.
Yeah, so we won't be meeting Monday night. I assume the Monday night committees will not be meeting.
Yes.
They've been moved to Tuesday.
So we'll reschedule that for Tuesday.
Okay. So Labor Day meetings will be on the Tuesday instead of the Monday.
When is it?
Okay. All right. Highway Commission. Yes, sir. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Graves. What's that?
What was you going to say? You said Highway Commission.
Oh, it's just you're up next on report.
Oh, no report. I do have a comment. I had my mind over yonder somewhere, but anyway, I've been camping all weekend. Mr. Hyde and I had talked to none of the rest of them. Do we have anything on Tuesday, first Tuesday anymore except for highway?
Let's check and see.
It's a, well, you all had to stand in line. Just kidding, Bacon.
No, sir, normally we do not.
What we need to do to move it maybe to 5:30, if that's okay with the other members?
On highway?
Uh-huh.
Tuesday? It's currently what time?
It's at 4:30 now.
Okay.
You need to talk to the highway superintendent and your citizens too. I would suggest we maybe bring that up at the next committee meeting.
Okay. I wanted to bring it up tonight, but anyway, y'all.
Yeah. Commissioner Graves, if you could, if y'all could take care of that at the next highway meeting, and then
We'll do it.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Graves. General Ops, Michelle. Okay. Emergency Services, no report. Legislative Committee, Mr. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one very important announcement. That the law directors asked me to make clear and for the record. I think everyone's aware that we received a retirement letter notice, if you will, from Judge Barry Brown. Per TCA 55111, it dictates exactly what will happen on that. It's exactly what we did the last time we had to appoint a judge. So that future seat will be on the 18 ballot. Legislative Committee, myself, starting literally tomorrow morning, because to be expedited, we'll be getting with Ms. Dennon's office, appointing a committee identically to the way we did it last time. Everyone here will remember when we got the Bar Association's participation, and get expedited committees with the opportunity that we will make is it November, Ms. Denon, a recommendation? So all that will be spelled out, but every commissioner will get an email and details, keeping you in the loop. But we have to get that done by November. December 29th is last day, so we need an appointment that will have at least 1 month prep. And that's just an announcement.
Yeah, and I know, I'm sure each of you have already started receiving resumes and requests for consideration, so it'll be nice to have that process, Commissioner Good. All right, sorry. Financial management.
We've finalized the contract. They're going to help us, with the company's going to help us find an IT director.
Okay. Budget, Mr. Pomeroy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 1708-03, appropriating up to $20,000 of the $61,822 auction proceeds for the Bridal House property. We had the auction, looks like we're going to be right at $61,822. Is $20,000 is up to, and will include in the wording an HVAC unit at the Bridal House property. So move.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Pomeroy. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Ring. Any discussion? Any questions? Anyone in the queue? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
Resolution is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote. $22 votes are entered. Anyone not voting, wishing to vote? Anyone wishing to change your vote? Receiving the necessary 2/3 vote, the resolution is approved on first and final reading.
Mr. Pomeroy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to group and make a motion to group and approve 1708-04 and 1707-05. These are the carryover for the FY 2017 budget balances for the county general fund and the carryover for the FY 2017 budget balance capital projects.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Pomeroy, seconded by Commissioner Good. Any discussion? Let's do a voice vote on this. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, hang on one second, Mr. Becker. The monitor had me blocked. I apologize.
Just for clarity, should this be 1708-05 or 1707?
Yeah, it should be 08.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Prospero?
Adjourn.
We're adjourned.